Welcome to ACC Student News.
The news students can use. I'm Kharl.
And I'm John. Here are this week's stories.
The Internal Revenue Service stands to collect an additional hundreds of billions of dollars in taxes over the next decade that would otherwise likely be bypassed. According to the report released by the IRS, they could collect up to $561 billion between 2024 and 2034. The agency is trying to crack down on corporations and the wealthy. The report has also found between 2010 and 2019, the audit rate of millionaires has decreased.
Indiana governor is deploying a team of its National Guard to the southern border of Texas to support the ongoing border security mission. Eric Holcomb stated that 50 Hoosier Guardsmen will spend 1 week at Camp Atterbury for training before deploying to Texas for 10 months. He said that his decision followed a direct request from Texas Governor Greg Abbott and comes just days after some U.S. governors met on the U.S.-Mexico border to receive a detailed briefing from the front lines.
Following an increase in the numbers of Chinese immigrants crossing the United States southern border, former President Donald Trump and other Republicans have said that these military-aged men with ties to China's military or allegiance to the Communist Party of China. Other Republican lawmakers and pundits have recently made similar comments about military-aged men. And immigrants from China or other countries, there was no evidence found, such as government data showing that immigrants from China are coming to the U.S. at the discretion of the Chinese military.
Israeli Prime Minister has directed the military to plan for an evacuation of the population from Rafah. With more than 1.3 million, the evacuation comes at a crucial time in the Israeli war with Hamas. According to Israel, this city is the largest remaining Hamas stronghold in Gaza. Before the start of this war, Rafah had a population of roughly 280,000, but is now home to some 1.4 million people living with their relatives in shelters or sprawling tent camps after fleeing from Gaza. The Prime Minister has ordered the military and security officials to come up with a combined plan to include both a mass evacuation of civilians and the destruction of Hamas.
A verdict in the trial of Jennifer Crumbley has possibly set a new precedent for parental responsibility. Jennifer Crumbley was convicted of charges involuntary manslaughter after her son Ethan Crumbley perpetrated a fatal school shooting in Oxford, Michigan. He killed 4 people and injured 7 in the shooting. Jennifer Crumbley case was focused on the allegiance of gross negligence. Prosecutors argued that she and her husband provided their son with a firearm despite the visible warning signs. During the trial, it was mentioned that they brought their son to the gun and were aware of signs that he would be involved in the massacre. Crumble was the first parent of a school shooter to face homicide-level charges related to the murders her child committed.
With the outrage at the BP Whiting refinery, there will be some consequences for Northwest Indiana. The temporary closure of the oil refinery will have an impact on fuel prices not only at BP gas stations, but also at non-BP outlets. An oil industry analyst stated that the refinery will remain offline and unable to produce 10 million gallons of gasoline products. The immediate consequence of this closure is an increase in the cost of fuel. The loss of supply, coupled with the necessity for BP to produce fuel from alternative sources, will create a significant market imbalance.
A former suburban Indianapolis daycare director is facing multiple charges after giving melatonin gummies to children without the parents' consent. The 52-year-old woman faces 2 counts of neglect of dependence and 6 counts of reckless supervision by a child care provider. When the owner learned that she and other employee had given 17 kids ages 1 to 4 these gummies, he fired her. She did have permission from a parent with 2 children there to help with their naps. Several parents told police that their children had problems sleeping and developed a rash. She has since been released on bond with her next appearance scheduled for April.
Iceland volcano erupts for the 3rd time since December. The eruption occurred at 6 a.m. on a mountain ridge where soon after the lava started spreading on the main road. The The effect of the eruption was that the last lava cut off the source of heating and hot water, which is a necessity in Iceland. Although eruptions are not uncommon, the volcano on the peninsula have been dormant for around 800 years until 2021. That's all we have for this week. I'm John.
And I'm Kharl. Make sure to check out the rest of our videos on YouTube.
And follow us at ACC TV Hammond.